Hello everyone, Dr. Lindsay Bira, clinical health psychologist here, bringing you more Mindful Minutes, sponsored by Mind Science Foundation to give us all the space to work on our brains. Before this, I've done a few videos laying the foundation of mindfulness. What is mindfulness, this concept of gentle curiosity, and the power of the diaphragmatic breath. Today, I want to talk to you about managing stress through mindfulness. But to start, what we have to understand is what is stress? How does our body respond to stress? Something that's stressful that our body responds to, so a stressor is read as when a situation's demands exceed our immediate resources to cope. When that happens, then our brain elicits a cascade of responses that changes how our body functions so that we can respond to stress. Now, if somebody slams on the brakes in front of us in traffic and we need to respond, or a bear pops out from the woods and is chasing us, we need this stress response and we don't want it to change at all. We want it to be there so that it can keep us alive. That's what it's for. But if we find that we're being chronically stressed from maybe work demands or unemployment, or traffic on the daily, or somebody in our life that's kind of just grating on us, then we have some dangerous stress. We call this chronic stress. And we know that unchecked chronic stress starts to damage our tissues over time and is one of the contributors in what kills a quarter of people, which is heart disease. What we want to do, and what this kind of wave of human evolution is focusing on our brains, developing our emotional awareness, our emotional intelligence, so that we can manage that stress response just a little bit better and decrease the damage that it can have on our body. So, when we think about how to manage stress better, what we always want to do is tap into the breath. So, if we kind of review this basic concept of mindfulness here, mindfulness is about paying attention on purpose without judgment. So first off, we have to pay attention, which means we have to notice when we're stressed. So I just want to do a real kind of informal mindfulness exercise here. And I want you to just kind of tap in with yourself right now. Notice what your body feels like. Notice how you feel emotionally, what's been kind of going on in your life. Notice if you're carrying any stress. And if you're human and alive, I guarantee you probably are. So just kind of notice what that might be like for you. And also take note of where you feel it in your body when you are stressed. I know I always get kind of like a muscle twinge in my neck here. That's when I know that I've either been sitting too long or I need to take a walk. So just for you, what is it that makes you aware that you're stressed? Sometimes people become irritable. Sometimes people have sleep disruption. So just kind of notice what that is. And so when we notice that we're stressed, and again, mindfulness is paying attention on purpose without judgment. We don't want to judge the stress reaction that we have. In fact, we want to be gently curious about it. So we can kind of notice our reaction to something. We can be curious about, isn't it interesting that I'm having this reaction? Or isn't it interesting that my body is feeling this way in response to this situation? And then we want to do something about it. So if you remember from last time, we learned about the diaphragmatic breath. So I want you guys to kind of step into that for a second. So kind of start to breathe using our belly. So we can kind of notice that we're stressed, and then immediately we step into our diaphragmatic breath, letting our belly hang loose and expand as we inhale, and our chest follows. And then everything deflates as we exhale, really slowing everything down. And when we do, we begin to reverse this stress response. And as we do this and continue to breathe very slowly and smoothly, as we step into this, we can actually begin to tap into what our thoughts are, some of our assumptions about maybe what might be happening. So you can notice and maybe bring up a stressful situation that you're dealing with now or has happened recently, and just kind of notice what you've been saying to yourself about that stressful situation. If you've been particularly judging yourself, if you've been maybe harsh on other people, and even if you've been fighting against some of the realities of the world. Noticing if you've been saying any should statements I should be better, they should be better, this shouldn't be happening. Should statements are a giant red flag. So just kind of observe that. As soon as we step into the breath, we can start to slow down, just kind of observe our reactions. And this is where we can step into a sense of gentle curiosity. So isn't it interesting to experience this? And we can also step into choosing acceptance of some of the stressor, whatever we're fighting against, saying that it shouldn't happen or we shouldn't be this way. Kind of with that next deep inhale, accepting that this is exactly what's happening. Most likely what you're experiencing is a part of a larger experience. For example, waiting in line at the store, getting stuck in line, is a part of the experience of going to the store sometimes. Somebody cutting us off in traffic is a part of the experience of driving many times. Even this coronavirus, this pandemic we're going through, is statistically part of the experience of being alive. So just kind of notice that. Kind of notice if there's any shifts there that kind of help put the stressor back in context, or if you just simply feel kind of more control over your physiological reaction. And then as we breathe and engage our frontal lobe, we know that we have more control over our emotions and our behaviors. So this is where we can also breathe and tap into a value. No matter what's going on around us, we always have the things that we value. So if you can kind of tap into answering the question of who do I want to be within this? I can't change this, but who do I want to be within this? So just kind of notice what the answer to that question might be. Maybe we want to tap into the value of patience, or the value of self-reflection, or the value of communication, which is something that we can always be successful at in anything that we cannot control. So taking a couple more deep breaths, just kind of reflecting on that, letting that soak in. And last deep breath here. And at the end, I want you to just kind of come back, open your eyes if they were closed, just feeling alert and relaxed. So great job. I want you to practice this that next time that you notice that tension or that stress, or you notice yourself reacting or fighting to something that's fighting against something that's going on, step into that immediate awareness, that breath, loss of judgment, so letting go of judgment, and then kind of that chosen acceptance, and then stepping into the values of who you want to be moving forward. And as soon as we align our behaviors with our values, our well-being increases. So there's research on that. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. Stay tuned for next time. It's going to be mindfulness for sleep. So I hope to see you there.